Hey everybody, this is Twin Sons Junkies, and I'm Seth, and I'm here with Count today. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Usually we have gameplay videos where we post our different wins and things like that. But today we're going to be branching out into some more Twin Sons content. We want Twin Sons to really get a lot of content out there. We want people to start playing this game. We want people to get behind it, because as we go into set 2 and the sets beyond, Twin Sons is just going to exponentially be getting better. This is the first set, so in a singleton format, it's pretty limited. But as we move forward, it's going to get better and better, and we want there to be a lot of content on this format in SWU. So today we're going to be doing a tier list, but before we get started, we want everybody to please like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps us at our channel. It helps us get the content out there, and really is just something that me and Count would really appreciate. So today's tier list is going to be the heroic hero combos. In Twin Sons, you have 2 leaders, so that's very important to understand that it's how they work together. And in Premier, it's a lot more how tough is this individual hero. But in Twin Sons, it's how do these heroes work together? How do these leaders synergize? So we're going to be putting them into a tier list. This is our opinion, and if you don't agree, the best thing to do is comment. Argue with us. That's all right. And then if you do agree, put your favorite deck in the comments. We would really appreciate that, and we'll pin a few of those, the ones that we really like. But we're going to go ahead and get started. Our first combination today is Han and Cassian. This deck is pretty unique. It has a lot of synergy between Han, who adds more resources down, even though you have to kind of lose them from turn to turn. But he adds more resources, and then you have Cassian, who draws you cards. Count, I want to hear your opinion of this deck. You're kind of the pilot of this one in our group. I want to hear your opinion of this deck first before we kind of toss it into a spot.
Yeah, this is kind of my pet deck. I mean, for me, this is the most fun you can have playing Twin Sons right now, because they work so well together. You're getting stuff out faster, but also able to keep a hand with Cassian.
Yeah.
So kind of the downside of Han is that sometimes you are really having to pitch or resource way too much stuff, or stuff that you're wanting to keep for late game or whatever. But with Cassian, you're able to just keep your grip from being completely depleted.
Yeah.
So the two, I think, work really well together. For me, this is the most fun deck that I've played personally, and I think it's really tough too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's an S combo for me, but I want to know what you think.
I agree with the S tier, with kind of where you're putting that. And I think the reason I agree with S tier is because where we're at right now here in the format, things that are synergistic obviously are very good, but there's not enough synergy in certain abilities. Like you take grit or some of those type of things.
Right.
They're awesome abilities, and the things that synergize around grit are cool, but there's like 6 grit characters. So the synergy is cool, but there's not enough in a singleton format to make it good. What's really cool about Han and Cassian is they have crazy synergy with the ramp of Han, but the draw of Cassian. They have crazy synergy, but it's all general synergy. So it's not like they have to have one specific ability that we don't have enough of in a singleton format. It works on a high level with the cards that we have, and will only really get better. So I think to me, it's the pinnacle of what it looks like to have a synergistic deck. It has great aspects with aggression and cunning. What do you have on there right now? It's aggression, cunning, and do you have command?
I have command on there right now, but vigilance would work good too. I mean, I think aggression and cunning work great together. So those are kind of the 2 colors I lean into with the deck the most. And then with the base, it's just extra. I think you could even go another aggression, so you could run the double red stuff, and it would still be really good. I mean, it's good stuff.
Yeah, no matter how you slice it, it's an S tier deck. I don't think there's any argument on this one. We probably won't agree on every deck, but I think this one is an easy S tier snap pick. So we're going to go to our second deck here, Cassian and Jin.
Okay, so same color combo here.
It is.
But for me, someone a lot less fun than Han and Jin. Knee jerk, I have only played with Jin a little, but I just don't like it, especially in Twin Sons. So knee jerk, I want to say like D, because Cassian's still so good that I don't think it goes F, but that's what I'm thinking initially.
The problem with this combo to me is it's kind of a non-bow. And what I mean by that is, combos are things that synergize well together, but this is kind of a nombo because Cassian, you have to hit bases for his ability to work. Cassian has to hit a base. Jin helps you hit units.
Yeah,
and so the problem is you have this little bit of a push and pull of you want your units hitting bases with Cassian, but you kind of want your units hitting units with Jin. And so I just kind of think they don't go together. And to me, it's the exact opposite of Han Cassian. And honestly, we got to think about it this way too. Why would you ever play Jin Cassian instead of Han Cassian? And because it's in that pairing, it's not like it brings a new aspect. Maybe you could cut one of the aspects and do that. I mean, you really don't get any value running Jin and Cassian over Han Cassian. So, I mean, I would almost say F tier. I don't think Cassian is a strong enough leader to carry the leader spot by himself. So I think that, I mean, I really don't like the combo. I think I would go F tier, but I want to hear your... Are you stuck on D?
I'm between D and F. I don't know how it's going to shake out. We're doing this kind of on the fly, guys, so I think that's going to make it kind of fun. But yeah, let's start F if you feel strong about F, and then if we want to bump it up to low D, we can.
I think if we had the full list of heroes, if we were doing all heroes and not just heroic heroes, maybe it would slip into D because there'd be a couple things way worse than it with some IG-88
Looking
stuff.
at you, IG-88.
Yeah. But I think for right now, when it comes to heroic leaders, I mean, it's just not good. All right, let's move on to another one. This is an interesting pair here, and I don't think this pair has been talked about enough, and it's Sabine Cassian.
Yeah, because it's that double red.
It's that double red aspect, and I'll take this one to start, and then I'll pass it over to you, Count. I think this Sabine Cassian deck has a little bit of an oomph that we don't talk about because the double aspects is not as good in a singleton format right now. And I think in the current meta, it's dropped a little bit, but I think for every set we get, the more double aspected cards we get, this is going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
Because you've got Cassian, who is a great kind of mid-range hero who really just helps you push in that mid game and a lot of value, a value engine. And then you've got Sabine, who is just, I mean, she is the aggro of all aggros, especially when you're talking in Twin Suns. So I think in double aggression's an aggro color pairing. I mean, you get to run aggression. You get to run some of these great pieces. Is it Rallying Cry? That's the double aspected card that gives everything raid for a turn. So it's just, I mean, you got a lot of pushing where you can really push the tempo. And then with Cassian, you're able to fill back up. Sometimes that's the issue with kind of these decks that are really about pressuring early. These aggro decks is sometimes they kind of run out of gas. You're not going to do that with Cass. Cass is going to really help you kind of refill your hand. So, I mean, I think where it stands, because we don't have enough double aspected cards, I would say C.
All the way up to C. Okay.
I think this is one of those pairing. I think it's one of the best double colored pairings that I can think of.
That's fair. That's fair. I agree with everything you say. It's going to be it's an aggro deck through and through, and what's hard is that if they're, like you said, with more sets, we'll get more double reds or more double whatever. But with this being singleton, you can't even run play sets of those double reds. You know what I mean? So it's
it hurts.
So you're building this deck with 50 cards right now, and then you're putting 3 double reds in it, you know, because that's all there is. And so it's like I just can't justify any doubles at above a D right now, I don't think.
Ooh. Yeah, I could take that. I think you make a strong point because it's tough because I want to put it to C because I think that the concept itself is so strong.
This concept could be an A at some point. Absolutely.
Oh, it could. But I agree with you. There's not enough double aspected cards to make it worth it. And I think the double aspected cards don't bring enough value to the deck. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, I mean, aggression's great, but it's not like vigilance in a control deck, you know?
Right.
And so I think I could sit with D tier, even though I think the heroes synergize great together. I think the deck itself at a current meta, the double aspect is just not what you're wanting to do right now.
Just one set in, I think we're looking at D's for the double pibs.
Yeah, I think I could sit there. All right, so the next one we've got is Cassian and Chewie. This one's a little interesting to me because I don't really have a ton of experience with this deck. I've not played it. I've not really played a ton against it. But I do think that these are both pretty decent pieces. I don't think they have a crazy amount of synergy. One is a very defensive leader, one is a very aggressive leader. But I don't think they're bad. I kind of just think that they are both individual leaders that are good, and you're just going to win games by having decent leaders, even though they don't work together.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
I don't think it's bad,
Yeah,
but I don't think it's anywhere near Honkas.
I agree. I think with Twin Suns not being explored very much yet, but with what we've played and what we've seen that's strong, Sentinel is good. I mean,
Man, it's
Sentinel's
good.
good late game.
Mm-hmm.
It can absolutely
Mm-hmm.
save the game for you. You can win games
Yeah.
because of Sentinel because people can't get through or people are
Mm-hmm.
swinging at somebody else because you have
And they're
Sentinel.
deterred. Exactly. In this format, they're
Um,
not just going to go through it. They've got
yeah.
other people to swing at, for sure.
So I think Chewie is inherently a little
Mm-hmm.
strong in Twin
Yeah.
Suns just because of that. A great color, obviously, lots of good vigilance cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love Cassian because I love drawing cards.
Yeah.
It's my
He's
favorite
great.
thing to
He's
do in
great.
TCGs.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, this is pretty good. I mean, this is something that I've not built, but sounds like it would be really good.
Yeah.
I'm coming out the gate at a high B. What do you think?
I think I could sit on B, but I'm not sure high B. Let's see how things
Yeah.
shake out. I'm really good with the B tier.
Okay.
The question is where it shakes in B. I don't
Sure.
know. It's just going to kind of depend on what else we see.
We'll see.
So,
Yeah.
okay, this next combo is pretty interesting, and I want to see your take on this. I want to hear from you first, actually. Chewy and Churret.
Yeah, I think if this wasn't one of those double pips, I think this deck would be a menace. I mean, truly.
It would be crazy.
If this was one of those that one of them was any other color, I think that this would have been one of the first decks I built because this sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Being one of those double pips for me still is just not viable. But
yeah.
Really cool. Both really
Yeah.
cool and really fun. And I think that for some reason putting Sentinel on stuff for Churret makes Churret
man.
better. So it's tough. It's tough. And maybe the double blue would work. I mean, I'm not sure because I haven't played it and I haven't played against it.
The one thing
yeah.
I gotta say about this double blue is Churret. All the best cards for Churret, for the most part, that I know of, are in blue.
Mm-hmm.
I ran Han Churret, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But so you aren't missing. I think having blue in one other aspect, you're not going to be losing a ton of value.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think it's that bad per se. And I think if you can ever get to a point where Churret's still on the board and then you throw down Chewy, I mean, I don't know who's getting through that. Because Chewy is so hard to kill once he's on board, and it's so hard to get through to your board. And then Churret is just, like you said, a menace. You get a couple things. You get a Jedi lightsaber. You get a Luke's lightsaber on him. And, man, he's tough to deal with. And he just is doing damage after damage. So I do think that it's not that bad. But I think it falls in a weird spot in that it's a deck that seems like it could only get better through time.
Yeah.
But with the new printing of basically Vanquish for one more resource but can kill a leader, Churret is going to be hit, man.
That's true.
I mean, being able to kill a buffed up, upgraded Churret, I mean, any Voltron concept, being able to hit it in one card.
Uh-huh.
So to me, this falls in a weird spot because it needs more double aspected cards to be good.
Yeah.
But as we get more double aspected cards, there's a few cards that really hurt it. So
that's true.
I think I'm fine sitting at D tier. I don't think that it's got. I just don't think the upside is really there to pick up this deck. Personally.
That's fair.
Okay, do you think it's above or below Sabine Cass? I think it's a tad below.
I agree.
Just because of the potential.
Yep.
All right. Now this is a pretty fun combo. We've got Chewy Han.
The best buds.
The best buds. Okay, this one is pretty cool because, and this is my take on this deck, if I were to run this, I think I would run it a little bit more as almost a control deck in Twin Suns. And control in Twin Suns is so different than in Premier because you can't just, I'm going to kill everything that you play, kind of like you do if you ran a Vader Blue in Premier or something like that. you kind of have to look more for the big control pieces, and then things like Sentinel's the biggest piece of control you can have because it protects your board while you're killing big pieces. That is really what kind of the slower game decks want to do. And I think this deck does it better than anybody, almost. I mean, you have Han who can get those pieces out faster. Getting a Chewie out with 6 resources instead of 7, man, that's good.
Yeah.
And so getting Chewie out earlier and then having time to be able to put some of those pieces on Chewie so he never dies, man, that's really good. And so, I mean, part of me is thinking Han to be able to advance your game plan, get to the late game faster, and Chewie, who really owns the protection side of the late game. I mean, this to me is A tier. This to me is better than Chewie Cass. This to me is good.
Yeah, I agree that I do think it's A tier. I think that a lot of Twin Suns games comes down to who was able to kind of sit back a lot.
Yeah.
Lots of times, who gets out fast and has a killer board state and stuff, they get targeted down by the other 3. And that can really end up biting you in the butt. And I think Han leans into that really hard because of that ramp. And so a lot of good Han decks aren't able to even see the late game. But Chewie is the pair with him that I think, you know, Cassian and him just synergize so good that it's hard to
say that that's not just amazing.
The way to go. But this combo really, really helps protect your game plan as you are ramping with Han. And so I think that the two are awesome together, and I think that they're 80.
Yeah, I agree. I think A tier. I agree with everything you say. Okay, now we're getting into a leader that we've not really talked about yet. This is the first time we're getting to talk about her, and it's Hera. So this deck is Chewie Hera. I'm just going to give my take on Hera and Twin Suns. She's bad. I don't know what else to say. I do think in the future she will get exponentially better. And the reason is that she's so bad in Twin Suns compared to Premier, and she's not good in Premier either, but she's better in Premier because you can run 5-color Hera, is you already get almost every aspect.
Right.
I mean, you think about it in the color pie, there's 4 of the main aspects and then there's heroic villainy. And so you're getting 4 of 6. And you don't really usually want to use villainy cards in a hero. I mean, like usually there's a good split there. And so like you're really only missing one big aspect in a deck. Now, in the future, maybe Hera and another command hero, or Hera, another hero, and a command base where you're running that double command or double something could be, maybe you'd be cooking something. But for right now, I don't think there's really a reason to use Hera basically at all. I don't think she really brings any value in the leader spot because what she brings value in, you can already basically play those cards.
Yeah. So how many specters are in that one color that you're missing that you're wanting to play? That's exactly. And that's what it comes down to.
You may get 2 cards for a full leader. Like, does that seem worth it? No.
Yeah, and then you get to add in your double greens, so you get maybe you're getting to add 5 cards to a 50-card deck that you're wanting to wanting to run, and that would be even a stretch. So
now you do get the double aspected cards. You do get the double aspected cards.
Right.
So you do get the okay, if I ran Chewie Hera with blue with a blue base, then I do get to run Bendu. I do get to run the thing that gives Sentinel. I get to run Vigilance. So you do get to do that, which, I guess that's useful, but you're right. It's still not adding enough cards for her ability because she has nothing else. She literally has no other ability on her. And so it's like, for that to be the only thing she adds.
Yeah, and if you go down that route to do the double pips, then you're missing out on 2 colors. So then you're throwing. That means you're throwing out red, Vigilance and Cunning. So, and that's what being able to build Twin Suns right now means you need the colors, just because it's a singleton format and there's only 252 cards, and that's including all the leaders. So, a Hera deck right now just kind of seems insane to build, honestly.
It seems you're only building it because of fun, because of lore. Right. You're not building it as a serious competitive deck. I think this is the worst one we've talked about, personally.
Are we just going to be filling up Fs and Ds with Hera?
I think Hera is really bad, personally. I think you have more value running Jhin than Hera.
We want to speed the process up and start putting in Hera's
We
on the
can
bottom
do that.
so we don't have to keep talking about her.
Hera Han is not. Hera Jhin is the worst deck in Heroic. Hera Leia. I think Hera Leia might be the best Hera deck because then you get a little bit of value
green.
for running the double green. Hera Sabine. I mean, it's really hard. They're all just bad. Hera Chur. I mean, they're all so bad.
Yeah, that deck sounds terrible.
All of these decks are sounding bad, bro. Wait, we have 2 Hera Jins on here. Oh, never mind. They were just next to one another.
No, yeah.
All right. We got all the Hera out of here. F tier across the board. She's just bad.
She's just bad.
She's just bad. Actually, I think Hera Leia has a argument to be made for D tier.
Put her up in D. Give Hera 1 D deck.
All right. The next deck we're going to talk about is Chewie and Jhin. All right. What's your thoughts, Count?
Chewie and Jhin. Chewie and Jhin just seems like a... Why do you want to run that deck? Again, I think Chewie is pretty good in Twin Suns inherently just because of the Sentinel.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting with Jhin because of the -1, I guess, when you're swinging, but you're kind of getting hit more as Chewie, I guess, with the Sentinel. Your board is more than you're actually swinging with it. So I don't know. It just seems odd.
I have a little bit of a I mean, I agree it's not amazing, but I do think Jhin, of all the decks she works in, I kind of like this one in some ways.
Okay.
And the reason being is I do think that there is a case to be made for you don't want your Sentinels to be hit. You don't really want them taking damage on attacks because they're going to be taking damage on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And so something that's really cool about her is they can take less when swinging at units. And sometimes that less, like if you're swinging into a R2-D2 or a Yoda or some of those, maybe not Yoda, I'd have to check, but you're swinging into some of these low power heroes, you have the ability to, hey, I'm going to take no damage on my guy, kill something, and then still be sitting here with no damage on him, you know, like with a Sentinel. So I do think she has a little bit of value there of like, hey, this helps keep my Sentinel big protected board from taking damage. I don't think it's that fair. Crazy. I don't think it's like, we're not talking crazy synergy, but I think compared to other Jhin decks, I think she's better than Cassie and Jhin, which is the top of F tier. So I think I'd put her midway through D tier. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking it's definitely a D combo. Maybe I was misrepresenting myself. I think it's fine. For Jhin specifically.
Maybe C. What do you think?
Maybe a really low C. Maybe because I think you're probably right. It's probably Jin's best deck if I had to guess.
It's one of her best. I don't know if it's the I mean, I would just have to see the rest of the leaders. You know, I can't think of it on the top of my head, but it's one of her best for sure.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Chewie Leia. Ooh, this is an interesting one.
I think Chewie Leia's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chewie Leia, for part of the reasons you were just saying about you do swing with your Sentinels because they're going to get hit later, so you kind of swing first. Swinging 2 of them in one action, I mean, Leia is just really good in Twin Suns because you're getting to cheat a little bit on turn order. I mean, getting to do extra stuff on your one action is really good in Twin Suns. I mean, obviously it's why she's also very good in Premier, but Twin Suns it's even better because the board state, your enemy's board state is 3 times bigger.
Agreed.
So, Leia Chewie, I think is B, and maybe high B.
I'm gonna take a swing here. I think Leia Chewie is a sleeper. And the reason I say that is I don't think it's got a ton of hype because the leaders don't actually have any synergy. Chewie is a late game protection board state type thing. And then you got Leia on the other hand, who's basically, I'm going to aggro you out, I'm going to hit you hard type of thing. But I think because their individual game plans are so strong, they fix each other's weaknesses. And they don't, it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a non-bow. It's not. I mean, they don't hurt one another, but they fix each other's weaknesses. The problem with a Chewy deck a lot of times is you get in that late game and you have such a protected board state, but you can't kill a player. You're struggling to finish a player, get the final turn started. Because the thing is, in Twin Suns, it's just a final turn. So if you can get a player dead on turn 7 with a Chewy on board, nobody can kill you. I mean, you can't take damage because of Chewy. And so the thing is, but a lot of times you can't kill a player quickly because the problem is you do a little damage to them, somebody else finishes them and they get the 5 life and then you're not the top life. But with Chewy Leia, you can Leia, double hit, finish a player, drop out Chewy, or Chewy maybe is already there. And then, I mean, you gain the 5 life and nobody can touch you. I just think, I really do think I think it's bottom A or maybe mid A personally.
Yeah, you hyped me up a little bit.
It's got some stuff we've not seen before, and or we've not seen played well, I guess. Is somebody played it on the channel like first time, and I think we were still kind of setting up, learning the meta a little bit. But I think that deck can be solid.
Yeah.
All right, you good with
A?
A?
For awesome.
A for awesome. All right, this is a pairing that suffers from that double aspect, and this is Luke Chewy.
This for me. Well, I think going forward in Twin Suns, if a double pip becomes viable, it's this one for me because
I agree with that. Yeah,
this would be the ultimate control list. I mean, putting shields on all Sentinels. And then running control cards.
Yeah,
sounds like a nightmare in Twin Suns. A absolute nightmare.
It does.
People will have such a hard time getting through to you. Now, you may become arch enemy with this deck. I can also see that, and that's never good in Twin Suns. But you also, when we get enough support for this archetype, it also might not matter. I mean, it just might not. You might be able to just control the board. So, for me, this is going to be the highest double pip. I still wouldn't build it right now, just because I don't. It's not enough stuff. It's not enough.
I'm tempted.
It's not fun enough.
I'm tempted.
You're a control player through and through.
I love control, and I think that the reason this is so cool, Count, is you get Luke and Chewie on the board at the same time. You don't lose because Luke puts shields on Chewie. It does not say a non-leader.
No, it doesn't.
And so the thing about Luke and Chewie together is, I mean, you look at Chewie. I'm going to pull him out right here just to double check his stats, but he's a 2/9 with grit and Sentinel. The guy is not dying. You have a Sentinel that basically can't die because he's going to have so many shields, and then people can't kill your Luke because you're going to have so many shields on. I mean, every turn. Imagine a Sentinel that's 2/9 with every turn they get a shield. So people have to swing into him, get the shield gone, and then on top of that try to kill 9.
Right. And what
it's
makes
nuts.
it also what makes it doable is that Luke comes out turn 5 because he deploys at 6. Twin Suns really has a hard time getting to a turn 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So you're getting Luke out, you're getting Chewie out, and
on the final turns, yeah.
Right. Usually, and sometimes it could be the final turn with this, which would mean that nobody's hitting you on this final turn.
Yeah.
With Luke and Chewie out. I mean, so yeah.
What else I love about this too, though?
I think it's the only double color that
I think it's
is
good.
Buildable right now.
Well, you want to know what's crazy too that makes this so good is think about what you have in the heroic blue, kind of in what you have in heroic blue. You have Obi-Wan, who's a great Sentinel. You have the Vigilant Honor Guards, who are Sentinel. So there's other pieces than just Chewie. And the reason that's important is you throw down a Sentinel, you use Luke's ability early game. Use Luke's ability and you put on a shield. And so even with Cloudwing City Guard, you have, I mean, like you could probably run 10 Sentinels in this deck, and then you can run the double pip thing that gives something Sentinel. And so what you can do is every turn drop Sentinels with shields.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, it is good. I almost
You want to go A.
I kind of do. I think it's cooking. I think it's got a lot. I mean, like, I don't think it's one of those decks that suffers from the double blue because I don't think you really need more. And I think getting to run Vigilance and getting to run the thing that gives Sentinel, getting to run Bendu, I think it gives you some value for the double blue. And Control is blue's color, is Vigilance through and through. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm at a B, but
I can go B.
I'm
I'll go high B.
I'm very intrigued, and I really do think that it could be a powerhouse in a few sets.
I do too. There's a couple others there's another double aspect in the villainy that I'm excited to talk about too. But for now, this is
teaser for the next video.
Yeah, teaser. All right. So next one is Chewy Sabine. Chewy Sabine is interesting. I think the two ideas coming together here kind of lean into being good in Twin Suns. Mm-hmm.
Like we said, Sentinel is good in Twin Suns. And applying pressure means that you're gonna with Sabine you're making games shorter. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if Sabine's in the pod, you're not getting to turn 6. I don't think we've seen a turn 6 with Sabine out.
Mm-hmm.
Have we? Maybe
in
our videos.
I think we have.
Please go back and watch our videos and comment on those
somebody
videos.
Comment. Yeah, somebody put in the comments if we've gone past the turn 6.
Yeah. But then so having Sentinels out and applying pressure all game with Sabine, I think is just inherently good. I think that the two work well together, even though it doesn't really seem super synergistic.
I've got a take here. I think Chewy Sabine is D tier.
D.
I think it's bad, and let me give you my reasoning. I understand everything you're saying because it's basically one of those arguments of two good leaders smash them together can't be bad. Problem is Sabine puts a clock on the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so the problem is with Sabine, there's a good chance you don't get to put Chewy out.
You don't think? Chewy deploys what, 5?
No, he should deploy 7.
Oh, you're right.
So the problem is that you Sabine, if there's a second Sabine
Chewy
at the table, if there's a second Sabine at the table with the blast counter and 2 Sabines, that's 3 damage to a player, to every player per turn, or well, one player gets 2 because the blast only goes to every other. But still, you get my point. I mean, there's so much, and there's a good chance of a second Sabine at the table. So the thing is, Chewy, it hurts you to have Sabine. And then on top of that, I don't think Sabine brings any value to this team because you look at Leia. Leia brings value because later in the game she can one-shot a player and then initiate final turn when Chewie's already on board when you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Sabine is killing players, but not when you want to. So you not having that control, I think, makes it 100 times worse than Leia. I don't really see a reason to run Chewie Sabine and not, if you're wanting to run that aggro control-y kind of like mashup, there's no reason not to run Leia Chewie.
Yeah.
Personally.
That's fair.
So I would go D tier. I mean, I want to hear your take. So are you thinking C or are you thinking you go with D?
I'm good with D.
I think it's better though than the double pippers.
Yep.
All right. Okay, this is one I've not really thought about a ton, personally, but
it's the Rogue One deck, yeah.
Cassian. Yep.
Yeah.
My snap take is I don't love it.
That's mine too. It's just Turret, I feel like Turret is an interesting aspect of Twin Suns that I think will get better as we get more cards, more upgrades, more Voltrons. It
depends.
It's scary because they're also going to introduce cards that are going to hurt them. But with it being a singleton format, you don't have to worry about 3 of those cards being in everybody's deck. It's just 1.
And
so
non-control lists aren't going to run it. So you're maybe looking at 1 player running that. But we don't have anything that counters or that stops that kind of issue.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. I mean, Cassian is just a good secondary hero because his job is just to keep you from not having a grip.
Mm-hmm.
So that just works with everyone in a card game.
And Turret does have the value of, in a normal setting where there's nothing that can one-shot kill Speller, you could almost always play something that makes her big enough to not die by end turn.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're running Cassian Turret, you're never going to have a hand, hopefully, that doesn't have that. That doesn't have the upgrade that you throw on at the end of the turn so Turret doesn't die. And I think Cassian makes sure that in a singleton format, you always have one of those in hand.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not terrible.
I
I
don't think it's
just
terrible either. I think it's pretty mid. I'm just not sure if it's B or C.
I just don't think Cassian Cassian is to me, he's the best second leader in the game.
Mm.
What I mean by that, he's the best leader that says, I'm going to throw you with a good leader, and he's going to be a great leader.
Mm.
And I just don't think Churret can carry the weight of the main leader as well, if that makes
I
sense.
agree.
So I say C.
I'm good with C, but I think it's better than Chewy
Yeah,
G.
that's where I was sitting with it. Okay, this is a deck that I personally run. I kind of like. It's been a little pet of mine from the beginning. It's Churret Han, and so I'll kind of take the conversation to start. Churret Han, I think, is better than Churret Cassian personally, and the reason is Churret, if you can get him on the board quicker, he is a haymaker. And so the thing about Churret is you toss him on the board and you already start getting those upgrades on him before other leaders get on the board. I mean, Churret, he comes out at 5. So if you, with Han, you're getting him out on the Sabine turn. You're getting him out on the same turn as Sabine. And so the reason that's really cool is you get him out so early and then you're just haymaking for 2-3 turns before leaders touch the board. And then by the time leaders touch the board, he's got such a big upgrade pool on him that he can maybe one-shot a leader. He can one-shot a Vader by that point if you have a Jedi lightsaber and some of those type of things on him. You throw it binds together down, type of thing. Point is that I think that Han getting out Churret quicker is so valuable that I think it puts it in a... I'm going to try not to have bias here. I would say B tier.
Would you say that this is Churret's best deck in Twin Suns?
Yeah, I think for sure.
I think it is too. It's hard. It's a tough conversation, but I think it is. I
mean, I can't think of a leader that's better with him.
The only other one that kind of feels also really good is Leia.
Yeah.
Just the double swings. But I think Han just matches up with him better.
Leia's interesting because you can double swing Leia and Churret at the same time.
Yeah.
And with the right combo.
Well, Churret's not a rebel, is he?
No, he is. I just checked. That's what I was checking.
So
Churret is a rebel, so you can Leia Churret at the same time. They both come out at 5. Ooh, that's dirty.
So,
but
that's the only other one that I think might rival this for the Churret deck, but I think we should put Churret in at least B. I think his best deck is at least a B. So,
do you like this better than Luke Chewie?
I do personally. But
I think so too. As much as I think Luke Chewie's awesome, I do too. Okay, Churret Jyn.
For me, this is D.
Yeah,
but
I think
just because I would always rather run Han.
I think there's a case to be made for C though. And here's the reason.
I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's a bad combo. It works well. It's
one of the best for Jyn. Now, Chewie's really good with Chewie's good with Jyn too, but it has the same colors as Chewie Jyn. But Churret has the weird spot in the meta where you kind of want to be swinging at leaders and hero and other units because when you swing Churret into something, knowing it can't die in the round is huge. And so having him is like, I can hit something else and I can not die. And the next round, even though I have 1 health left, I have a full round. That's huge. So, but with Jyn, taking 1 less per one of those swings.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of think it might be bottom C.
Bottom C, I'm good with.
It's one of the few times that Jyn is actually useful.
Fair.
All right. This is the deck we were just talking about, Churret Leia.
So yeah, just talking about this, I also think this is going to be in the B with the other Han.
I agree.
With the other Churret deck with Han. I'm just not sure if I like it better or worse than with Han.
I think you convinced me. I think it's better than Han. I think it's barely better than Churret Han.
With Churret Han, do you run a command base? So would it be the exact same colors?
Nope, it's aggression.
Okay,
and aggression brings in a cool piece, but because aggression, you can run K2s and some things like that. But you also, with aggression, there's a few upgrades. I'm actually turning in my binder right now to see a few of them. But with aggression, you get a few upgrades that are kind of helpful.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I mean, I don't
Wolf is
think.
always good in Twin
Yeah.
Suns too, because in-game Wolf is it changes everything. So
It does.
Red definitely has some fun stuff for Twin Suns. So
I don't know though.
yeah,
Command. I think I take Leia because you got to think with command, you can run command aggression instead of and just cut out cunning altogether.
Yeah.
And with command aggression, you can run things like what's the one that you double attack with?
Yeah.
I forget that card's name.
I forget that too.
Point is, the reason it's so sick though, is that you run that together, and if you run it right, you can play that one card. It says, you know, a creature gets +1/+0, and then you swing with it. Another creature gets +1/+0 and swing with it. If you do that with Leia on the board and Chirrut, you can swing with Chirrut, Leia, and another Haymaker, like maybe a K2 or a something, right?
You're knocking somebody out.
You're doing 20 damage that turn.
Yeah.
I mean, your Chirrut's probably swinging for 8, easy, with the upgrades you put on them. And then Leia's swinging for 4 plus the 1 from that card. That's 5. You're looking at, you're looking good. If you have a red 3 out or a General Dodonda or something in that realm, you're swinging for 20 with those 3 creatures. That takes out any player at the board.
Yeah.
I think that, honestly, I'm kind of talked myself into a bottom A.
I like a bottom A on this one.
I really think it's good. Is it better than Chewie Leia? I kind of think the Chirrut's better in the blue spot than Chewie in this.
Okay.
Personally. Is it better than Chewie Han?
No.
All right, that's where it sits. Okay, Chirrut Luke.
This is one of those double pips I wouldn't run just because if you're going to run double blue, I would run the one that we already said that we really like. So for me, this is top of D.
Yeah, I think top of D just because throwing shields on Chirrut's cool. But I agree. I don't think it's crazy. All right, next is Sabine Chirrut.
So a little more aggro-less for Chirrut, but I just don't think that works quite as good as the 2 decks with Han and Leia. I would say that if you're considering, if you want to run one of the red ones with Cassian or Sabine, I would still rather Cassian just to have the cards to play into Chirrut.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would put this under that one in C personally.
Yeah. I think I agree. I might even go bottom C, to be honest. I think Jin brings more value than Sabine in this matchup because even though that's a crazy, that is an outlandish statement, but I think Jin brings more value than Sabine in this.
All
right. Oh, this is bad.
This one's bad too. Yeah, we're just gonna have a lot of Fs.
The thing about Jin Han that I think is so bad is that Han, the greatest thing about Han is you get to ramp out your other leader. I mean, that really is the best piece of Han.
Right.
And that's what makes him, S tier by himself. He ramps out other leaders. That's crazy in Twin Suns. Crazy. But then you got Jin, who is not a leader you really care to have on the board. I mean, it's fine. I think that's a snap F.
Snap F. I think it's better than any of the Hera's.
Oh, yeah. Hera's sit bottom. All right. Cassian Leia.
Cassian Leia I really like.
I do too.
Cassian's a rebel, so you got that going for you with Leia. And there's a lot of rebel support here in this first set, which is why Leia's tribal, right?
She's good.
Her tribal deck deal is pretty good. It's pretty supported already. It leaps and bounds supported more than something like Grit. And so for me, this is a really solid deck. I think it's A.
I think I would have to agree. But I think the reason I think it's A is a little different than the reason you think it's A.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think Leia with the, I wish I remembered the card's name right now, but that card that lets you attack with 2 units, Leia with that card is the best thing you can do in Twin Suns. Hands down. The problem is, and the reason Leia's not the best unit in Twin Suns, is because that card you're not going to see every game.
Yeah.
It's a singleton format. But when you have that card in your hand, I do believe that that is the best thing you can do in Twin Suns. It is the highest amount of damage. You can kill somebody out of nowhere, gain the 5 life, and be the #1 player right there. So Cassian giving her the ability to get to it. I mean, if you draw an extra, let's say you draw an extra 4 or 5 turns, 5 cards that game, that's just a higher percentage you draw that card. That's a 10% higher percentage you draw that card. And I think that's the best thing you can do in Twin Suns.
Yeah.
So I think it's A tier just for that reason, personally.
Yeah.
But I think it's bottom A.
Bottom
personally.
A. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good, but I don't think it's better than Leia Chewie or Leia Chirrut.
Okay.
Because I think Leia Chirrut puts out a higher amount of damage. I think it puts out a higher burst.
Mm-hmm.
I think Leia Chewie has such great protection that even though it's not as much damage or refill, it's just so good in that you can kill somebody with Leia and protect yourself with Chewie. I think it's bottom A.
Okay.
All right, this is an interesting combo.
Yeah,
Leia.
Yeah, I think that this is a power couple in the game as well as the series. I mean, really, really good. I don't know what to say. I love Han and I love Leia. And they don't necessarily synergize perfectly together. Like, you don't read both of them and go, oh, this is perfect. But they don't, there's no nombos. I mean, they just both are doing their thing and they do it well. And great colors in Twin Suns. And I think that this is super fun. I do think you're really, really going to look like the best player at the table, which is something to be said, because maybe
you don't want to look that way. Yeah.
Maybe you always are starting every game good with this deck, but you never win a single game with this deck, and that's very
tough.
Possible. And so is it really the best deck? That's another conversation, but I think it's super strong and I think it has to go A for me.
I'm going to make a bold take here. I think it's S tier.
S?
And the reason I say this is because of this. One, getting Leia out a turn early. Man. And then on top of that, and this is, I think, the biggest piece of this, Leia is really good at sneaking in damage, of putting in more damage than you should be able to.
Yeah.
And there's no color better than that, than cunning. I mean, you think about sneak attack. You think about surprise strike. You think about, these cards that can really give a boost out of nowhere. You toss that in with Leia's already kind of tossing 2 things together. You are looking at something crazy. I mean, you think about it on turn 3 when you have 4 resources. You pop in an extra one with Han. You put out Leia. You throw out a surprise strike. Give Leia +3. She's swinging for 8, and then also you're swinging with your something else too. That's crazy.
That's really good. Yeah,
I mean, you're looking at killing a player on turn 4.
Really
turn
good.
3.
The double swinging works really good with like getting to, say you have 2 space units and everybody else has a bunch. You swing both with they're both rebels, so you get to swing both with Leia. Then you outmaneuver, like you exhaust everybody else.
I didn't even think about
on the turnaround.
Yeah.
And so now you've gotten all your value out of one arena and nobody else did. I mean,
that's real good.
It's really good. Absolutely.
And I think it puts you in a spot where you always have the pick you want, whether it be blast, initiative, or plan. And the cool thing about that is in Twin Suns, being able to choose who wants to be later in the turn order, who doesn't, man, that could be good. Because you could be the first player on a turn, double swing with Leia Han, and start this turn out so strong that somebody's dead and you're way ahead of the ball game, And so I think it's good. I personally think it's good. I think it's S tier, personally. I don't think it's good as Han Cass. You good with that?
I would agree.
Okay. Jyn Leia. I don't think it's bad, personally.
I don't think it's bad either. I think it's another one where it's like Jyn Chirrut, where it's kind of like, it just kind of helps, Jyn being the secondary hero does help your game plan. So it's nice that Jyn is actually helping here.
And Jyn, on her front side, this is important to know, when she's deployed, it gives all friendly units, when they attack a unit, -1, -0. So if you stack attack, You swing, let's say you swing Leia into Vader, and then, or you swing Jin into Vader, Leia into Vader, they both take -1.
Right.
Because Leia you swing twice, and then Jin,
Yeah.
they both will get. So you can be really stacking that pretty cool.
Yeah. It wouldn't be my like go-to pick
I
to
agree.
pair with Leia, but I do think it helps Leia, and maybe it is better than we think. So
I think it's, to me personally, I think it's bottom C.
bottom C. I'm
I
good.
think
I'm
it's
good with C. I think it's pretty mid.
Yeah, I think it's better than most Jin decks, but I don't think it's like fantastic. I think it's better than Chirrut Sabine personally.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Chirrut Jin.
So mid C, mid. Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's right
with you. I think it's a very mid deck. I think you just put it in exact middle. So
Yep. Okay, now we're talking about some gas here. Leia Sabine.
So I think this is the poster for aggression right now in Twin Suns. I think if you want to run aggro, if you're a Timmy and you want to swing and you want to run aggro, then I think this is what you pick. I don't think there's really a better option than this. And so I've played it some. It's fun. I do always look like the threat though, and that is not fun in Twin Suns. So you got to know you're going to go in with a board state that's going to look threatening all the time, or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing with the deck. So, but with all that being said, I still think it's pretty dang good. So I would put it A.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because the thing about this synergy is that Sabine makes the game quicker.
Yep.
Leia can take out a player really quick.
Yep.
So you have this build that can take somebody out turn 4.
Yep.
I mean, that's nuts.
Easy. Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's not a crazy thought. And then you throw in things like you have access to Red 3 and you have access to General Dodonda. And then you also have access to K2. You also, I mean, like, we could go down this list of just gas for the speed. Yeah, oh yeah, you do have Mace. Mace is a great late game. I don't think Mace works as well though because you don't really want to get to Mace.
Yeah.
In this deck, 100%. If you get to Mace, you're kind of in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the best aggro deck. The question is, how good can straight aggro be in Twin Suns?
And I don't think that it's been proven that it can be that good.
I agree. I think if somebody else can prove that aggro can work in Twin Suns at a high level, this is S tier. I think for as it sits, I think we're sitting middle A.
Yeah, me too.
Even though it's amazing, it doesn't get over the hump because straight aggro is tough.
Yeah.
All right. Luke Cassian. This is something. So we've got a lot of big decks here at the end.
Yeah. The Luke decks in general, I think, are very good. I think shields are awesome in Twin Suns. And this is just kind of a value deck to me. I mean, it just kind of reads as,
mid-range. To me, it's poster mid-range.
Yeah. I haven't built this because I went Luke Sabine, which we'll get to later on my build for Luke. But this is, without playing it, I think this is probably better.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I think the value here is what you're trying to do with Luke is you're trying to play this mid-range. You've got value. It's a little bit more on the control half of mid-range, but it's value piece. Cassian is a little bit more on the aggression side of mid-range. He's mid-range, but he's got that aggression side. So to me, you're really just sitting at that perfect little mid-range value. I'm going to get cards. My stuff's not going to die, so I'm going to have more things on the board. I'm going to have more things in my hand to play than you. I think it's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think it's the best deck with either pairing.
I don't either. For me, it feels like a B, a high B, maybe even, but I don't think it's A or S.
I agree. I think it's the best. Personally, I think it's the best B.
Okay.
I don't know. Is it better than Leia Cass? I'm going to be honest. I think so. I think it's better than Leia Cass at bottom A. And the reason I say that is Leia Cass, I think, is good. But I think Cass is more of a mid-range piece. Leia is more of an aggression piece. So I think with Leia Cass, you're looking at like, okay, I've got the straight aggression with kind of the aggression mid-range. With this, you've got control, mid-range, mid-range, aggression. So it kind of just blends into the perfect mid-range, not mid, but perfect mid-range. So I think personally, I think it's a little bit better than Leia Cass. So I think it's closer to bottom A than it is top B.
Okay.
What do
I'm
you
almost
think?
ready to move both of those decks to B. Is
I
that
kind of
crazy
think
to
so
say?
too. I think let's put them both in B, and then we'll put this one here. What do you think?
That feels good.
That feels
I
better.
like it.
That feels better. Because I do think Chewie Leia is better than Luke Cass.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, now's a good one. Luke Han.
Yeah, I think this is good. I think, as we've stated before, like
Han's just good,
Han
man.
getting your leader out is so big,
And Luke, what better leader do you want out in the heroic side of things than Luke?
I don't think there's a better deployment than Luke on the heroic side. So I think this is really good. I'm curious to see what you think.
I mean, I think it's great. I think one of the best pieces of this, one of the things Han struggles with, and I've played Han enough to know this, is that when you have leaders that deploy at different numbers, you have this issue of, okay, because you can't ramp every turn with Han. If you put out another resource every turn with Han, you have no cards. Other than maybe Han Cass, that's a different conversation. But so one of the things that you want to do with Han is you want to choose the turn that you ramp with. You want to ramp the turn that you could throw out a leader. The cool thing about this deck is they both deploy at 6. So on turn, what does that come out to? Turn 4, you're sitting with 5 resources. You can up 1 with Han and go to 6 and pop both leaders. So you can basically, for 1 card, get both of your leaders out turn earlier. That is really cool. And then you throw out that Luke is maybe the best deployable hero on the heroic side. He's just late game. The problem is 6 is tough. But you throw that out with Han getting him out earlier, I think this is just good. And then you put together this little combo of Luke putting shields on your Han so that now you're getting extra resources from the top of your deck. I mean, you think about this. On turn 4, when you have 5 resources, you can put out a resource, drop both Luke and Han. You can swing with Han, and you can have a 7th resource. So that means on your turn 5, you can have a Luke, you can have a Han, and you could play a Mace. You could have a Luke, you could have a Han, and you could play another Han, the unit Han. You could have a Luke, you could have I mean, like, we're in some scary territory when you're on turn, what turn is that, 4?
Yeah.
That's scary territory.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, I think that sits high A. I don't think it's quite S. I think it might be better than Chewie Han. No, I don't know. I think I like Chewie Han a tad better.
Do you?
Well, to me, Chewie provides this like unkillable board.
Yeah.
Whereas Luke provides he's a value. Part of me thinks that Chewie, I don't know. What do you think? Chewie's biggest problem is he deploys at 7.
Yeah, for
Getting
sure.
out early, I don't know. What do you think? It's tough.
I think Han helps Chewie more than Han helps Luke.
Agreed.
But I think the Han Luke deck would probably be better, personally.
Yeah, because putting shields on your Sentinels, Chewie, you get 1 big Sentinel. But with Luke, you just play Sentinels and put shields on them. I like that better. I like this better. All right. Jin Luke.
Jin Luke's interesting, just that shields are
good. Luke's
just
good.
so good, and one less, but it kind of negates the Jin effect a little bit. If you're hitting somebody with something with a shield, like if you're using one of your units to help with the board state a little and trying to clear something from
unless
someone.
Unless they have 1 power.
Right.
Like if you swing it like a R2D2 or something.
Yeah.
But how often
the shield's going to fall off whether it is or not.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're doing one more than one, you know, so.
I kind of agree. I think it's kind of a non-bo.
It's a little bit of a non-bo. I think it's a D.
I think it's Luke's worst deck.
You think it's Luke's worst?
Well, other than Hera, obviously.
Okay.
I think... Maybe
above
here?
the double pips.
Yeah, I think here. I don't think it's better than Luke Churret. I think
I don't
Turret
either.
Luke is better,
Yeah.
even though it's double pip. All right. Luke Leia. I'm just gonna come out and say it. This is gas. This is so good. Luke putting shields out. He's that mid-range piece, and then you've got Leia, who's just awesome. I think it's amazing. I think you can swing Luke, Leia to. Is Luke a rebel?
Yes.
Okay, you can swing Luke, Leia together, and then Luke also puts the shield on something else. So good. And then you have a Leia that keeps getting shielded. If Leia stays on the board, you win the game. I mean, I think this is a high A. I don't think it's S personally, but I think it's high A.
I was gonna argue that it was our worst S
Okay,
combo.
I'm not against that. I mean, high A or S. I can give you the S because the thing is, I do think it's better than Luke Han.
Okay.
I think it's either here or here.
Let's put it at that bottom of S and see how we like it there
Okay.
after the last few.
Okay. Here's one of your pets, Luke Sabine.
Yeah, Luke Sabine is fun to play. I think that's what I kind of come away with the most. It's kind of frustrating because of Sabine is really puts a timer on the game in a real way.
And
But I love
Luke's a mid-range, so game being shorter is not always good to Luke.
No, it's fun, but I don't think it's a perfect deck by any means. I think that it's doing two things that I like a lot. Like I like both. I like the time being set for against everybody, and then I like the shields to be able to protect your stuff because you are a threat when you play Sabine. So it's it does give you two things that I like when I'm playing it, but I'm not going to sit here and say this is what everybody should build. I don't think it's the best combo. So
I think,
but I would say it's around the
I
B.
think Luke Cass is better personally.
Yeah.
So I think it's bottom B. I think it's cool. I think it's fun, but I don't think it's better than Chewie Cass personally. I don't think it's better than Luke Chewie.
No, I don't think so either on paper.
I think it's bottom B. I think it's fun, but I don't think it's. I think you're just honestly. Why do you run Sabine over Cass unless it's for the fun element rather than the power?
Yeah, unless you just want to be aggro and you just want to speed the game up. Yeah.
Okay, Sabine Han. This deck gets a Sabine out turn 2.
Yeah, as much as you want to talk about Sabine Leia being aggro, I mean, I think this is the other direction you could go with being aggro because of the ramp. It's the ramp forward
and cunning.
mentality.
Cunning is so broken when it comes to throwing out fast instances of damage.
Yes. So I think for me, this is the other really good combo with Sabine. If you're wanting to do this in Twin Suns, I think this is kind of
Sabine
your other
Han
option.
is really good.
But I think that even more so than Leia, it is in your face. Your board state is in everybody's face because Leia, you can be a little more sneaky with it to end the game. Han is like,
yeah,
you're putting so much stuff out every turn that everybody's like pointing at you like, what is going on over there? And so that makes it really hard to get a dub with, I think.
I could see that. I think, I could see that. So we have Sabine and Leia at A tier. I think this is also A, but I think bottom A.
I'm good with that.
I think it might be better than Chewie Leia. Just because its aggro is so good.
Okay.
What do you think?
That's fine.
I'll go bottom. I think I can. Okay. The final deck is not kind of probably the best one we want to talk about. It's Jyn Sabine.
Yeah, I don't think this one works very well. I think it's bottom D.
Jyn gets out so slow, and she provides 0 value to the Sabine gameplay. 0.
Yeah.
So to me, bottom D. I think she's worse than double pip decks, to be honest. Some of them. I think it's like here. Maybe here.
Yeah.
All right. That's the official tier list. This is crazy because we're going to be doing a villainy tier list here soon. That's also we're going to kind of promote that a little bit. So look out for that to all our viewers. But I mean, we're also going to be going into a new season here soon. So what's crazy is all of this is going to be, the meta is going to totally shift here in about a month from recording. And so this is going to be exciting. But this is kind of where me and Count think this sits, the Twin Suns Junkies crew. And this is kind of the meta we've seen. But to all of our audience, comment. I want to hear, if you think Jin Sabine is the top meta deck, I want to hear about it. Now, I think you're wrong, but put it in the comments. Kind of want to hear what y'all think. The meta for Twin Suns is very new. The meta is very open because we haven't really seen a deep meta for the Twin Suns kind of format. And so it's still kind of forming. And so, no, there's a lot of expression and things that people can do in it. So, yeah, let us know what you think. This is kind of where we think it sits from the games we've played, from the things we've seen, the videos we've watched. But no, it's to me, this is exactly where it lines up. I think Kara's bad. I think Han's good. I think Leia's good. I think we've got some leaders that just carry the game, and I think that we've got some that are hard to find good pieces to. And I think Kara and Jin, you've really got to work to find something decent for them. Not saying there's never anything, but this is kind of where it sits in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm interested to seeing what other people are playing in Twin Suns. I'm hoping some of the decks that we don't have any real
data on
playtime with, some people can say like, oh yeah, I built this and this is it's so fun to play, or well, I win every other game with it, so please let us know about that. And when we do the villainies, let us know about those too. We're looking forward to reading the comments.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, we're finishing up today. Thanks everybody for watching, and like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the villainies tier list.